Hey, what's going on, guys? I'm Joseph Guernsey, and today I want to talk to you about an upgrade I highly recommend for any of your Creality 3D printers. I recently ran into a problem with my CR10 Creality printer where it had clogged up and only printed half of a print, and I woke up in the morning, there wasn't any filament extruded all over the place, but I had a clog in my hot end. And as I looked over my printer, I found out that the extruder bits on the printer had been rubbing where the filament was going in, and I believe bits of the black plastic, because the original one's plastic, this is metal right here, had got into the filament and clogged up the hot end. So to keep you from having that headache and running into that problem, I'm going to show you how to upgrade this thing, and I highly recommend this. I believe it's a necessary upgrade in my own opinion. So let's get right into that. Okay guys, so here's what we're going to need for this. We're going to need, of course, the extruder upgrade kit from Creality. I got mine off Amazon. I'll have a link to the one that I have right here. I wouldn't recommend using the off-brands. I'm sure they might work just fine, but I like to stick to the original brand. That way I know it actually works for the printer. Also, you're going to need some kind of a tool kit. This is the one that I just had laying around. It has all the different Allen heads that we're going to need to unscrew some of these little bits, and any other bit that we might need to unscrew the different parts that are already on the printer, and then also to put them back into the new pieces. So let's get all this open and we'll move over to the printer. Also, I may have forgot to mention, but you may need some sort of crescent wrench or a wrench that will fit this little piece here. This is where the TPU goes in and the filament feeds to the hot end over there. So first thing we're going to do is take this little thing out right here, and I just barely cracked it open and then unscrewed it by hand. Okay, now with that out of the way, and we can unclip the wire right here. Should just come on out, wiggle it a little bit, there you go. And we are now ready to start unscrewing the different screws here on top. We'll start right here with the one in the back, and we'll undo that. Okay. And we'll do the front corner one here. Now be sure to, when you get ready to undo all these screws, be sure to brace your hand underneath this stepper motor. That way it doesn't just fall on your bed and end up breaking something worse. Okay. Okay, now we need a bigger bit for the next two screws. And I'm just kind of guessing what size they are and seeing which ones work. Okay, I'm going to undo this screw here. Now I can feel the pressure of that spring pushing against this, so as soon as this comes out, I'm imagining it's going to want to just bounce apart here. So I'm keeping pressure on it as I unscrew this, and then I'm just going to wiggle it out. There it goes. Okay, and we got that part off. Then we're going to take the spring out of the way, and now we can, let's see, it looks like we need to remove this screw here. See if it's the same size. Nope, it's the one back down smaller again. We'll go back one size smaller. Okay, and we can undo this. This is where you definitely want to hold the motor. This is the last screw right here. Hope my arms aren't in the way and you can actually see what I'm doing here. Okay, now I'm just going to set the motor over on top of the control box here, just out of the way. We can just lift that whole thing off right there. Next, we're going to want to undo these two little Allen heads on the stepper motor here, and that way we can get that piece off. So you don't have to take those little black screws all the way out, just back them up enough for it to slide off there. Okay. And we can take our new one here and go ahead and put it back on. Okay, and we're going to get that pretty close to where it was on the original piece, and we're going to tighten it back down. Be sure to tighten both the screws down. Okay. Alrighty, now that we have that new brass piece put onto the actual motor, we're ready to put the rest of it back together. We're going to start by placing this big red piece right there, just like that. And now we have to attach the motor, making sure these wires are sticking out to the side like they originally were. And we're going to put this flanged screw in this front corner here and line it up with the motor, and then we're going to put all the top screws back in. But we'll start with this one here. Okay. And with our tool, I'm going to get that started there. There it goes. All right. And don't tighten it down too much yet. I want to make sure we are able to get the other screws in. Now we're going to take, there should be 3 screws that are the same size, just like the original, that look just like this. So we're going to go ahead and put the 2 on this side back on, the one in the back corner, opposite of the one we just did. Okay, and then again, not tighten it all the way down yet, just hand tight there, and we'll put this one back here. We'll tighten these up here in a minute, just in case we need to move the motor slightly to get some of these to line up. Before we put that last screw in, which is the really long one that came in the kit, we're going to take this, and we want to, oops, I dropped the washer here. We're going to take the roller, the short stubby screw that has the hand tightening screw on it, and there's a lock washer, a little bitty walk washer as well. I hope the camera's picking that up. It's real little. And we're going to arrange it just like the original one was. Let me put my screwdriver down here. We're going to put the roller right there. Okay. And then we can take that little washer and put it on the screw, just like that. And then we're going to put the screw through that roller, and it should just screw right there into that part, just like that. Right there, just like that. This is how it needs to look. And now we can tighten that on down with our screwdriver. And again, you may have to change your bit out because these are all different size screws. Okay, and I hand tighten it and it still spins real good. Go ahead and tighten it a hair more. There we go. And there we go. Again, don't drop it. Okay, the next thing we're going to do is we're going to take this piece here, and the one we were just working on, and the hole that's right here, we're going to take one of the screws, the same screws we used to put the main base plate on right here, and we're just going to screw that in. You can use it, you can do it by hand. If I can get it started here. Okay, and we're just going to screw that right in there, just like that. I'm just going to hand tighten it. I'm not even going to put the tool to it. Okay, there you go. All right, and now we're ready to put the short, we're going to take the short stubby screw, the only one in the kit, looks just like this, and it's going to, there's a hole in this back side of right here, and we're just going to put that in there, and you can hand tighten this one as well. You'll see it coming all the way through to the other side. We're just going to screw it all the way in as far as it'll go, and I'm going to go ahead and just slightly tighten it so it doesn't work its way out. Okay, there we go. The next thing we're going to do is attach this, but before we go ahead and attach it, we want to go ahead and remember to go back and tighten those screws we just hand tightened earlier. We shouldn't need to touch those again. Okay, just get them nice and snug. Okay, no reason to over wrench them. There they are. Now we can take the spring that came with the new kit, go ahead and set it over the top of that big screw we screwed in all the way through this piece. We'll take our new little, I guess you call it the lever, and set it there and push the little screw into the other end of that spring. Okay. Now we're going to go ahead and take the longest screw that came in the kit, just like the original one, and it's going to go in this all the way through to the motor. So you might have to, you can drop it in there and then you might have to slightly squeeze that spring in to get it to line up with the holes. And you may have to wiggle it, and there it is, I got it. So I'm slightly squeezing in, and I had to kind of wiggle it around until it caught all the way through the motor. And now we're just going to screw it in. I have to change bits. Now putting slight pressure right here on the spring may help you screw it in just a little bit and also help it get flatter to the bed. Okay. And I've got that tightened down and it looks like everything's installed and ready to go. Okay guys, now that we have this on there, we can take our Bowden tube here, and in order to remove this brass piece, you're just gonna give it a little bit of a push right here on this plastic part. Just push it in and pull the tube right out, just like that. And we can set this aside. I don't think we're gonna need that any longer. And just checking out my Bowden tube, it looks okay to me. Now we want to go ahead and take this little black plastic claw, they're calling it a claw, a quick release claw, and it's just going to be pushed right in here into the big hole there. There we are, that's in. And we can take the Bowden tube and push that all the way in, just like that. And this little blue thing here goes between the gap of this red thing and the black thing. You'll slightly pull it out and it'll just clip on. Oop, pushed it down slightly, just like that. And that's holding it in. Actually, that's doing a very good job. So there you go. And then that's basically it. We're ready to rerun our filament back through there and give it a test. That's the full assembly. And this should prevent clogs from happening. I don't know if you'll be able to see this. I'm going to try to get a better angle here. If you look, I don't know if you can see this, but you can see where on the old plastic one, right there, it was actually eating in to the plastic. And bits of that plastic, it's supposed to be round, we're getting into the Bowden tube all the way to the hot end, and it caused a clog. So hopefully having that metal one there, that will no longer be an issue. So guys, I hope you enjoyed this video. I hope it helps you out. I highly recommend upgrading your extruder to a metal one. And I'll catch y'all in the next video.